The story of two brothers.
Tagen and Tashi were two brothers. They lived in a small rural village in the hills of Arunachal Pradesh. Tashi was the elder brother. He was very cunning and lazy, while Tagen, the younger one, was humble and hardworking. One day, they received news from a fellow villager that their parents had been killed in an accident while working as laborers in a distant city. Both brothers were deeply saddened by the loss, as they were now orphans. Just a few weeks after their parents' death, Tashi, being the cunning one, planned to take the best of the small property they had. He called his younger brother, Tagen, and said, "Since our parents are no longer alive, I, as the eldest, will divide whatever is left equally." Tagen, being innocent, agreed. Tashi said, "We have only one small blanket in the house. I will use it at night, and you can use it during the day." Tagen said, "Okay." Then Tashi said, "We also have one apple tree. Let's divide it equally. You own the trunk, and I will own the upper portion." Tagen nodded obediently. As the village was very cold at night, Tashi slept warmly while Tagen shivered in the cold. During the day, when it was Tagen's turn to use the blanket, it was useless because it was too hot. Tashi roamed around enjoying his life, while Tagen worked hard and took great care of the apple tree trunk. As a result, the apple tree bore a very good harvest that season. But Tagen was sad because Tashi, who owned the upper part of the tree, plucked all the apples and sold them. One day, a wise old woman from the village was passing by and saw Tagen taking good care of the apple tree. She stopped and asked him, "You must be enjoying the sweet fruits of your hard work, as the tree produced so much fruit this year." Tagen, with a downcast face, told her, "No," and then narrated the entire situation. After listening to him, the wise woman whispered something in his ear, smiled, and left. The next morning, it was Tagen's turn to use the blanket. He submerged the blanket in water. At night, when Tashi went to use it, he found it drenched and angrily shouted at his brother. But Tagen politely replied, "It was my time to use the blanket, so I decided to wash it." That night, Tashi shivered in the cold because of the wet blanket. The next day, Tashi was awakened by the sound of something screeching. With red, sleepless eyes, he got out of bed to investigate. When he went outside, he saw Tagen sharpening an axe. "Are you going to chop wood from the jungle?" Tashi asked. "No," replied Tagen. Pointing at the apple tree trunk, he said, "I'm going to chop down that trunk since it isn't giving me anything." Tashi realized his brother's intentions. He apologized and agreed to share everything equally with him. From that day forward, they lived happily together. Thanks for watching, and do subscribe to my channel.